Tension flared in Imphal on Sunday as security personnel fired tear gas shells and smoke bombs to disperse protesters marching towards the Raj Bhavan. The demonstrators were responding to a call by the Meitei Organizing Coordinating Committee on Manipur Integrity. The provocation was a directive to remove the state's name from the Manipur state transport buses on the way to the Shirui Lily Festival. 5 protesters were injured and hospitalised. The scuffle in the security personnel followed Saturday's call by COCOMI to participate in a civil disobedience campaign and boycott of the governor. Now let me straight away go to my guest. I am joined by PK Mishra, former ADG BSF, and Professor Prasenjit Biswas, Professor of Philosophy, Northeastern Hill University. These are the visuals from yesterday and today's visual. The protest turned ugly. Some said, we'll boycott the governor. Mr. Mishra, my question to you is very simple. Why is this Shirui incident flared up so
yes, Kartikan, I can well tell you why it flared up. It's all because just a bus, Manipur State Transport bus was going from Imphal to Shirui Lily Festival. That's all, carrying journalists. And when the bus reached Walthabi, immediately that was stopped by Mahar regiment, and they started covering the name of Manipur State with a paper. And the bus was totally, they were all journalists who were sitting there in the bus, and they immediately protested as to why this is being covered and who has ordered it also. Nothing could be known. It's only that they were blocked. The bus was blocked to go further, and its name Manipur State was covered. And that created a problem because all the journalists which were there in the bus at Walthabi, it is ahead of Imphal East while going to Ukhrul, they started the movement, and immediately COCOMI took it up. And yesterday what happened on Tidim Road, particularly in Kaifal, near the market on the Tidim Road, they started a big procession. The ladies and COCOMI, they started a procession towards Governor's house, and at the gate of Kanglapur, the eastern gate of Kanglapur, at the same point, they were fired at by smoke bombs and tear gas shells, and a lot of Manipur ladies were they were injured and they were hospitalized, and that created a scene. And COCOMI, they thought of taking it up with the central government. By the way, central government has already asked COCOMI to come for a discussion tomorrow in MHA.
Point taken. Okay, point taken. Let me play out the bite of Khoreja Mathuba, because you mentioned COCOMI, and then I'll go to Professor Prasenjit.
Democratic and non-violent protest demanding the apology from the governor of the state, and also the resignations of the top administrators of the state regarding the very unfortunate decision taken to undermine and insult the identity of the states of Manipur. Today, COCOMI expressed serious anxiety and dissatisfaction over the unwarranted use of smoke bombs and tear gas shells on the non-violent protesters, particularly women, during our peaceful demonstrations held today in front of the western gate of Kangla. The deployment of such aggressive crowd control measures against the unarmed civilians, many of whom were women, elderly women and mothers, and it is deeply concerning and unbecoming of the security and administrative arrangement sensitivity that the injury of several women protesters is unacceptable.
Professor Biswas, why has this Shirui incident flared up or snowballed like that?
I mean, this is to be located in the context of the entire ethnic conflict, Shirui Festival cannot be seen in isolation. As you know, the Kuki Joe side didn't really want a kind of a situation where...
Sir, I think, Professor, first thing we should do is to explain what is Shirui Festival. Can you explain to our viewers what is Shirui Festival?
Shirui Festival is a festival celebrating the Shirui blooming of the Shirui flower, and it has certain rites and rituals which are followed by the respective communities in invoking the ancestors, in invoking the nature, in invoking the goodwill, etc., etc. So there is nothing about the festival per se, but the location of the festival in the Ukhrul district, where this is part of as part of crossing the buffer zone and entering into the Ukhrul district. That's what is their point of contention. Festival is not a point of contention. Everybody welcomes a festival. So there should have been a kind of a negotiated, mediated understanding along with all the communities when this kind of a festival is organized by the state government. It is not as if by blacking out all the past incidents of harassment and killing and other kinds of torture that have happened, and a particular minority community, Kuki-Jo, have suffered. Of course, Meitei as a majority community too suffered. Now, both the suffering communities could have been brought together at a plane of healing, at a plane of reciprocation, and that didn't happen. It remained a kind of a one-sided administrative measure. As a result, because both the sides have not been brought together into a situation of confidence, keeping confidence with each other, therefore, an unfortunate incident like covering the name of the state.
How do I look at from the perspective, from an outsider's perspective? I think the very thoughtful attempt by the Home Minister to create free movement of people. This is about free movement of people and free movement of people with their own identity. I think that is getting affected, isn't that, Dr. Mishra? You can move in Manipur, any part of Manipur, without obfuscating your identity. That's the basic thing. I think that is being contested, isn't that?
Yeah, absolutely, you are correct. It is just, Shirui Lily Festival, I will tell you also, because, this is the 5th Shirui Lily Festival. Earlier it was not being held. It is this time itself, a particular lily flower, it blooms in Ukhrul district. And that's the name given, Shirui Lily. And this is being, in fact, covered by both the communities, not all the three communities, the Nagas, Kukis, and also Meiteis. This happens so from 20th to 24th. The Kuki-Jo community, they made it a point not to allow Meiteis to go and attend this festival. That created a problem, and it was again, it got blasted when the bus name was covered, Manipur state was covered, where the journalists were sitting at Gwalthabi area. And Gwalthabi area also, now another problem is coming up at Gwalthabi area. In Gwalthabi area, it is dominated by Kukis, by Nagas, and also by Meiteis. Because Nagas, they created one Mahadev statue there, which was removed by someone. I will not mention it.
Okay.
Because that's
Okay. I don't want to get into that, sir. I just don't want to get into that right now. I just want to keep my discussion located around Shirui Festival. Sir, I'll come back to you. I'm joined by Rajat Sethi, former advisor to the Chief Minister of Manipur, and Elizabeth, one of the activists, also joins me. Rajat, thank you so much for making time. Just break it down to us. Why is it snowballing into a big issue? Why did this happen? I mean, say, couldn't this have been managed in any other way? But you understand Manipur?
See, I think, Kartikeji, the real problem is that when the Honorable Home Minister said that no kind of artificial borders within a state can be created. And around that time, the central forces were not able to actually enforce the removal of these picketing that was done at major highways, and they failed at doing that. And the strict orders of the Union Home Minister could not be implemented. And ever since that, there has been a further deterioration of confidence of the Meiteis in the central government, saying that, integrity of Manipur is something which has to be protected at all costs. And no matter, whatever the repercussions are, they were of the view that this needs to be addressed immediately. But that didn't happen. And now Shirui Lily became a flashpoint because the buses taking the journalists from Imphal, which is a Meitei dominated region right now, to Ukhrul had to cross through the cookie areas. Now, crossing through the cookie areas, again, should have been a fair opportunity to again enforce Union Home Minister's clear instructions and diktat. Again, I believe the local administration failed when they had to cover the name of Manipur. I mean, that is like de facto accepting that that the state in its present shape and form cannot guarantee its integrity, and therefore there is this public outburst. And I believe some kind of course correction has to be done by the local administration. The central administration is extremely clear as to what needs to be done at whatever cost. Those writs have to be implemented on the ground.
With your thoughts on this? A very warm welcome to you, madam, on my show.
Regarding this matter, what I would say is that the public sentiment is hurt a lot, and had it opened doors for historical hurts that have been impregnated to give a mind to the people of what is going on. And when we joined India in 1949, this is what that we are supposed to get, because we all treat our state, our homeland as mother. And if your mother's name is asked to cover, then what are the sons and daughters are to be taught of or to be think? This is from the emotional as well as the moral side that a grave mistake has been done. And on the administrative side and governance side, we know that we are being directly ruled in Delhi right now under the president rule of India. And a group has been asking, especially by the demand of a terrorist group, that a separate part in which where majority of them they are staying to be cut off, to be asking for a union territory or separate administration. That doesn't mean that when these things are being demanded and a state festival is being held, and on the way that a bus, which is a state bus sponsoring the festival, carrying the media person, state media person is being set like this to this, is it a kind of a negotiation going on underneath the table, a kind of acceptance to the terrorist demand? So this were kind of question. And when Manipur was merged with India, the agreements that were signed on, people have started questioning that one, and unwarranted actions being taken on the women folks who are not carrying any arms or any weapons, and the kind of actions that are being taken up by security forces. This is very hurting to the sentiment of the people, and we really condemned it, and the administration should take up appropriate actions to curtail, to control the emotions of the people. That is what we wanted to say, and that this thing should never happen again. This kind of initiatives should be taken up, otherwise there will always be a trust deficit. This is something that people are asking. If the name of India is being asked to remove while going to attain something.
Okay, you made your point, madam. You made your point. Rajat, how sensitive is this issue, you know? I mean to say, it's a very peculiar situation, you know. We are ending up with alienating all the communities. Rajat.
Yes, it is all.
No, this is true, Rajat. Madam, you have made your point. Rajat, am I audible to you? Rajat, am I audible?
Kartikeji, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can.
Okay. My question to you is, why are we ending up alienating every community?
See, I think this is where things get really complex, because right now a political head of the state was removed to actually build bridges and give a rallying point for the two communities to come together. But that, that sweet window of opportunity that was there has been lost now. And there is this tension which has been rekindled between the two communities. Now, I again see that where do you start from now to sort of again look at bridging a bridge between the two communities. See, every political action that was taken from the central government had to have some follow-on actions so that the eventual direction that could be achieved towards a permanent peace could have been secured. But I believe that initiative was lost, and now you're running out of possible ideas in order to give another window of opening for the two communities to come together. So therefore, the more the delay that we do, the more complex the problem gets, and more layers of irreversibility are introduced into the larger matrix. And this is where, I mean, my only folded hand plea would be to the state administration is that do not linger this any further. Whatever be the solution, whichever way, howsoever you want to coax the two communities, please do it now. Don't wait for the two communities to tire out, because tiring out is not the way. And we have seen Manipur of all places, the way it is constituted, the way that the three communities are relatively in same proportion. This forms a perfect zero-sum problem. You cannot address by only sheer buying out time. And therefore, they need to act, and they need to act now.
Professor Biswas, that's a pertinent point by Rajat.
Yes, so it should be a both ways kind of a dialogue. That has not happened. You see, when one is talking of free movement hasn't happened from the hill to the valley. But from the valley to the hill, free movement is often claimed and demanded, as if it is like reclaiming the territory of Manipur. Now, there are buffer zones that have been erected to keep the two communities separate for the safety and security of everyone. Now, given this kind of an ethnic division that has happened in the most unfortunate manner over the last 2 years, we do not see a healing process. The healing process could be to hold a festival where everyone can take part without any acrimony, without any sense of disgust and disgruntlement that is openly expressed by Kuki-Jo minority community. Then the question of political solution to the issues. If communities feel that they have to have a certain kind of separate forms of governance without breaking the state, I don't see any constitutional problem in granting a certain sense of autonomy. As it is, there is a lot of discrimination and asymmetry between the hill and the valley in terms of representation, in terms of distribution of resources, distribution of power. Given all these historical injustices, if a certain kind of a political solution is worked out within the four corners of the constitution, why that kind of a talk is not acceptable to one of the party or some of the interested people.
I have a bone to pick here, sir. And my issue here is that if you look at the press release 2 weeks ago by the Kuki-Jo civil society members, what did they say? They said that the issues with the Sioux militants should be sorted first. And I was just thinking, Dr. Mishra, that by saying this, they are saying that the first point of contact would be the very militant organizations.
25 organizations.
25 organizations. This, I would say, Dr. Mishra, that is a radicalization of the position.
You are absolutely correct, Karthikeyan. The way things happened at Guwahati, the discussion which took place with the CSO and all these 25 Sioux members, asking the government, the central government and the state government to discuss issue with only Sioux group. That is the old 25 militant groups. So that the contention is very, very clear that they want to radicalize the issue. And see, this incident also, Shirui Lily, this is also another political difference between both the communities. Again, it has started. You see, even after President's rule also, I hope even when Amit Shahji declared that we should have free movement on National Highway, you see, that is still pending, that we couldn't do it. We have more than 80,000 forces there. And anyway, Koraija Mathoba he has already landed with 7 more members of the COCOMI in Delhi, and our Honorable Governor also, he has landed back in Imphal, and hope tomorrow some discussion will take place. Of course, I know the demand which COCOMI Mr. Athoba will be placing, that is about abrogating the Sioux and apprehending the Kuki-Chin militants. They will pressurize the government. But anyway, let us see the demand from COCOMI that the governor should apologize and transfer of so many senior officers. That's not correct. But anyway, as governor is already back to Imphal today evening, let's hope tomorrow, even though COCOMI has told COCOMI has told the ladies and students to come up to the road tomorrow, but I am.
Let's see
very
what happens
sure
tomorrow. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But Rajat, my question to you is that, the matter I refer to, the Guwahati press conference, that press release, I feel that this is a very radicalized position on the whole issue. You spoke about that, the chief minister was removed. It was like an olive branch, we have taken a position, you step forward. But then instead of a step forward, there was a step backward from the other side. Instead of taking the olive branch by the center, you're saying that no, this is not enough.
This is what is really unfortunate, Kartikeji. I mean, when one community is ready to take one step forward, everybody else needs to join in. If at all you are a stakeholder to the peace. If you're not clear out your intentions, be it any community for that matter. And I'm really disturbed when the professor sitting here is trying to make communal remarks as if he's reading from a dossier of the Sioux militants when he says that the state should be bifurcated on communal lines. This is absolutely
I have not said it. Sorry, I have never said it.
I did not intervene.
I have said about the governance. Rajatji, please don't misquote me.
No,
you have
said
to quote me.
What is the harm in giving autonomy? Where does the question of autonomy or communal lines even emerge? What you are asking
autonomy
for
is not communal at all. It's a constitutional procedure.
I did not say a word when you were speaking. I did not say a word when you were speaking.
I didn't pick up your words to put my arguments. Yeah.
No. Again, I'm saying you said that why is the demand from Kuki side not coming to have access to the valleys? Because that is not their principal demand. They want a bifurcation of the state on communal lines. Why will they want access to Imphal? They will not. That doesn't give them any kind of a legitimacy in their demand, sir. Yeah. Therefore, let us not make this issue a further communal issue than what it is already by us panelists who sit on television and have lesser skin in the game. Let's talk what the matter of fact is, which is peace, and how does convergence towards peace happen without inflaming the sentiments further. Because Kartikeji's show is something that reaches nooks and corners of Manipur state. All communities watch it. Therefore, we have to all be talking only about peace and whatever it takes for peace. And whatever communities have to do, they must do that. Therefore, the Guwahati resolution, that press resolution that was made, was deeply problematic. When you start having such absurd demands, it clearly implies that your intention is not behind peace. Otherwise, you tell me if the center made a political step by ensuring that there is resignation of the sitting chief minister and a full majority government in having the mandate of 55 MLAs out of 60, there is still a president rule. That's the political cause that the BJP has given. They have lost both the members of parliament and they realize that in spite of that, there has to be a president rule. Then what is the Kuki community doing to take two steps? That back and forth needs to happen much more openly.
I agree with you. Because I must have my last take. 30 seconds.
One or two sentences.
See, only 30 seconds to clarify your position. That's it. 30 seconds.
Yes, central government talks to all the militant groups. So if they talk to Kuki militant groups who are in suspension of operation, it's not a big crime.
Okay.
Now that talk is at one level. At another level, the question of political solution. Nothing communal about it. It is all constitutional procedure and needs to be followed.
Okay, that's your point. I personally believe that the integrity, territorial integrity of Manipur as an anchor, and I have no qualm saying, is non-negotiable. It's non-negotiable. One thing I have to put this on record because it's creating deep anxiety and it's creating larger administrative issues for the center. I am not sitting as a spokesperson of the center. One. Secondly, I also find as a journalist the Guwahati resolution deeply problematic because there is no way a step forward is being taken, which is to engage with the center on this. I think MHA and the center has shown great patience in trying to negotiate those vexed and liminal spaces with the so-called militant groups and other segments of civil societies who represents the hill areas. I am not saying that the Kukis have not undergone problems or violence or they have not suffered. I am not saying that. They are equal part and citizens of India. Both Meiteis, Kukis and Nagas are equal. But we have to respect the idea of Manipur. And we also need to understand that the initiative which Amit Shah has taken was in great earnestness. And I think there has to be some reciprocity. There has to be some reciprocity in that context. It has to be demonstrated by those civil society members who now say they represent people of different segments in Manipur. So this was all on point today, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time. Thank you and good night.
Fertility rates in South India have dropped more sharply.
In the future, you can see it going further down.
Population aging is definitely a cause of concern.
This is an alarming situation. Horror of horrors, the Pollachi horror. Anna University case is despicable.
Of course, there is a political angle everywhere involved.
Can they ever erase the trauma of these Tamil women?
They give a lot of psychological counseling and support to the victims.
Can we still make up?
Light, camera, and action. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite snack because News9 is here with your weekend dose of entertainment. It's time to take a deeper dive into the buzzworthy happenings of the entertainment world. From celebrity gossips to exclusive conversations, from nostalgic moments to News9's pick of the week. Don't worry, we've got you covered here. And I hope you've grabbed your popcorn by now because News9's page 3 is here to serve you everything that we call entertainment. So do stay tuned every Saturday and Sunday, 2:30 p.m.
Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the brand